Yeah?
Where's the first guy?
Yeah.
All right,
You got ice on your chest?
You know where you are? You know what state you're in?
Yeah, California.
Okay. What city are you in?
Joe Rogan has taken aim at none other than Jake Paul after seeing his latest training footage, and things have gotten nasty between the two. Joe's recent jabs at Jake have hit the problem child like a slap on his face. So what is Joe so fired up about? Well, we all know that Rogan is pretty much the president of the Mike Tyson fan club, so he's not going to sit around and let Jake fire shots at the boxing legend. After his new training footage, things have gotten heated up. Buckle up because it's going to be a wild ride. Get this, Joe Rogan is a household name in the fight world, and the boxing fans don't take his words with grains of salt. Rogan, with his unfiltered comments, is not shy to stirring up controversy. Jake, being Jake, has a thing for poking the bear, but this time he has really taken things too far. On the other hand, Jake is leaving no stone unturned in trying to transition into professional boxing. Going from making slime videos on YouTube to fighting legitimate boxers in the ring is a big jump, one that a lot of fans are not ready for yet. After looking at Jake's recent training footage, Joe is concerned for the boxer and fears that he may have bitten off more than he can chew. If you're not up to speed, the YouTuber turned boxer is set to step into the ring twice in the next 3 months. Firstly, he's supposed to take on Mike Perry on July 20th for an epic clash, and then he's scheduled for the biggest fight of his career against Mike Tyson on November 15th. Jake doesn't realize that he's got 2 very tough fights coming up, and he needs to start gearing up like a beast. Come on, it's obvious that Jake isn't putting in the work like he should. If he's taking Mike Perry as an easy opponent, Jake needs to think again. Yes, he's only ever had 1 pro boxing match, but that doesn't mean he's not a tough guy. Perry is undefeated in bare-knuckle boxing, and he has everything it'll take to make Jake taste the defeat in the ring. Jake's digging his own grave this time, and he'll have a hard time coming back from it. Yeah, he had time to recover from his defeat to Tommy Fury, but it's not going to be the same anymore. If the athlete fails to come out on top against Perry, he'll have to step into the ring again with Mike Tyson not too long after, and you and I both know if he can't handle Perry in the ring, taking down Mike will be impossible. Now, Rogan has never been one to undermine Jake's skill just because he started out as a YouTube. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that Paul has been making all the buzz in the fight world and is definitely on the rise.
I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him...
We don't take Joe's words lightly around here, so if he says Jake's a legitimate boxer, Jake's a legitimate boxer. Come on, we've seen him knock out a bunch of tough people ever since his pro boxing debut. Nate Robinson, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, you name it. The kid has definitely improved. His technique, his power, his speed, it's all getting better. But does it mean he's ready to take on the best boxer of all time, the legend Mike Tyson? Well, let's hear it from Joe himself.
Fight Mike.
No.
Yeah, he wants to fight Mike, I think.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't give a if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson.
Mike's in good shape.
Even at 57, Mike's still the same man who sent the whole fight world into a frenzy with his brutal knockouts. This guy became the youngest heavyweight champion, and that's something you can't rule out. With modern medicine and hormone replacement therapies, 57-year-olds are tougher than you think. Don't believe me? I mean, just take a look at this man.
Day 2, we're getting ready for you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That pad work is scary, and if Jake isn't trembling in his boots, there's something seriously wrong with the guy. The former heavyweight champion hasn't slowed down a bit. His routine is as intense as ever, combining old-school boxing drills with modern fitness techniques. But even after watching Mikey's terrifying training footage and getting warned by boxing pros, Jakey isn't budging. He still believes he can send Mike Tyson crashing onto the canvas. Now, that's a big thing for a newbie boxer to say, and it's rubbing the boxing community the wrong way. Fans believe that Mike's health hiccup is actually a blessing in disguise for Paul, and I don't know about you, but I can't help but agree. Mike recently had an ulcer flare-up on a cross-country flight. The situation escalated, and the boxers had to postpone their fight originally scheduled for July 20th. Jake spent no time replacing Mike for fight night. Yeah, he's hopping from one opponent to another. It's important to note that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson wasn't canceled. It was just postponed until further notice, but that didn't stop Paul from finding another opponent for the big night. He went on and put ink on paper to fight Mike Perry instead. This new matchup raised a lot of eyebrows in the fight world. Let's talk a little about Perry to understand the nitty-gritty of this new matchup. Perry competed in MMA for several years before making his UFC debut in 2016. But bare knuckle is where he truly shines. He's been trying to get into the ring with Jake for quite some time now, and these two have sparred together too. So there's some history here. The blood is bad between them, and Mike Perry wants to ruin the biggest fight of Jake Paul's career. Platinum is a wild one, so this fight can be dangerous for Paul. In fact, Perry is hoping to KO Paul in order to stop the Tyson fight from ever happening, which he revealed in an interview with Michael Bisping. You heard that right? I'm trying to ruin that whole thing for him, see if they offer it to me after I knock Jake out and be like, hey, do you want to fight Mike Tyson on Netflix? That's the real win here if I can stop that, but I don't want it to hurt Mike's pockets either. Perry also shared his take on the terribly mismatched Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, and revealed that it's a lose-lose situation regardless of who's in there fighting the 58-year-old. I don't want to be an uproar either, and I could go in there and move around with him, and if Mike can't knock me out, which I don't know, he might be able to hurt me pretty good, and then I'll be the bad guy if I do good against the old guy. On the other hand, Jake believes that the Perry fight is simply an appetizer before he takes on the real challenge.
Brother, you're an appetizer. You're a Mike appetizer. Did you move to Florida after private school? Is that when you became?
In Joe Rogan's expert opinion, Jake Paul is making a grave mistake. Yes, he wants to get in as much practice as possible before stepping into the ring with Iron Mike, but the problem child doesn't realize that 2 fights back-to-back can take a toll on him and burn him out. The UFC commentator believes that he's biting off more than he can chew. He's stepping into a world where experience and technique mean everything. One misstep and it could be game over for him. Social media has exploded after Rogan's recent comments, and fans are hopping onto the bandwagon to share their take on Jake's new training footage. One fan took to X and wrote, "Joe Rogan is right. Jake Paul has skills, but he's not ready for the top-tier fighters yet." While another added, "Jake Paul is just a hype machine. He's not a real boxer, and Joe Rogan knows it." Don't get me wrong, I respect what Jake is doing. It's not easy to step into the ring, and he's doing it in a way that gets people talking. You can hate him all you want, but you can't deny that this guy knows how to keep the spotlight on him. But here's the deal. There's a difference between being good and being great. Jake is fairly new to the game. He needs to be tested against real boxers, people who have been in the ring their entire lives. That's how fans will get to see if he truly has what it takes. But stepping into the ring with real boxers doesn't mean you go against the legend Mike Tyson. Mike's still a killer, but he's going to be 58 by the time these two fight. If Jake wants to cement his status as a legitimate boxer, he needs to fight someone like Ryan Garcia. Yeah, that fight will show the world everything it needs to see. Jake going up against Mike Perry or Mike Tyson won't do much for the athlete's career. Let's not forget that even though Jake's clash with Mike has been rescheduled for November, it's still in jeopardy due to Mike's health. It happens when you challenge a man pushing his 60s. Mike's a flight risk, and I won't believe it'll see the light of the day until I see Mike stepping into the ring. As for Mike Perry, he's got the chance to pull off an upset and send shockwaves throughout the entire fight world. Jake's got a lot going on right now, which gives Perry the perfect opening to step into the ring and knock him out cold. Who knows, maybe Rogan's verbal jabs are simply an attempt to get into Paul's head before the fight. Well, in the end, the boxing world is watching closely. Joe Rogan's shots at Pale have added fuel to the fire, and Jake Paul's next moves are eagerly anticipated. Whether you're a fan or a critic, one thing is for sure, this saga is far from over. The boxing community can only imagine what's about to come up next, because these next couple of months are about to be one hell of a ride. So what are your thoughts on the whole Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fiasco? Are you looking forward to Jake fighting Perry, or do you agree with Joe Rogan's take? Well, fill the comment section with your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel because I'll be back with more boxing news.